BobbyFi and the man Eric Sheets Haber. We're going to be talking through the NBA slate, coming off a pretty good night. But again, the right lineups and the wrong tournaments, as I was saying, the Sheets pre-show. But it's nice. It's 3 days in a row with a nice little single entry win, which is always fun. So I'll buy in single entries. I'll take it. I'll take the mid-range jumper was last night. But let's keep it going, and hopefully we can get the big one tonight. Sheets before predicted that I was going to have the 5-figure, then the 6-figure, and hopefully I'm hoping tonight for the 6-figure, then tomorrow the big 7-figure, because we've got the giant tournament tomorrow.
Nice.
So that's what my prayer is. All right, so that would be my Christmas wish. Sheets, how did you do, and what do you think about the slate?
I snuck into the money in most of the stuff on DraftKings. Nothing great, but made money. FanDuel, I did a little better. I got like 8th in one of the slams, but as you know, last night FanDuel wasn't really giving away a lot of money.
Yeah.
So that's like you said, not wrong tournament, just wrong day, I guess. And I was one. We got the spread right in the Miami game last night. That was pretty easy. The Saints were just. I mean that's not a quarterback, unfortunately. That's just not the way it's going to be.
So do you want to know? You want to know an interesting stat about that football thing? Yeah. You know the last time that a Notre Dame quarterback started and won a game in the NFL? It was. I guess I don't need to ask you. It was Brady Quinn in 2012. They're 0-23 since then, and Brady Quinn previously to that, I think his record that year was like 2-9 as a starter or something like that. So pretty bad. You pretty much want to just bet against the Notre Dame guys. I don't know. That's not very sophisticated analytics, but it seems to be the way to go.
And kind of a little bit of a bad beat. You saw the Saints were backed up on their own one. And I was trying to figure out whether it was going to be a safety or another pick six or a fumble or whatever. And they threw this freaking prayer to the freaking little Jordan. And I was actually in first place in the showdown when that happened. That took me out of first and into like 117th or something like that.
Are you? Oh, really? I didn't realize you. Oh, geez, that's
a little annoying. Because I had the Durham Smite, who nobody played, and he got like 6 fantasy points, which was good enough to get me in there.
Yeah, that was a great play by you. Little Jordan Humphrey, that guy just seems to, for whatever reason, always seems to be like a must-have on the showdown slates for some reason. I guess so. You never want him otherwise, but only on the showdowns. But anyway, all right, let's get to the NBA today. I think we pull up your screen and we'll go get. Oh, let me make sure you can share your screen. I didn't hit that button. There we go. Share your screen and we'll go game by game here. We had some news that just broke, so I don't think all the sites have updated. Like, it's not a huge news. And well, one is Josh Giddey being out, I guess, could potentially be big news. But the other one with Rui being announced out after they thought he was going to make his return today. I'm not sure all the sites have corrected for the projections yet because it just didn't happen long ago. But hopefully we've got, it's not. I don't think it's going to be slate breaking information, at least unless we lose some other guys. So let's start off with Milwaukee and Orlando. What are you looking at from this game?
Yeah, the guy that's showing up as the value for now is RJ Hampton. For Orlando. Again, this is early and this is all kinds of stuff, but I guess with Cole Anthony out, that's why. But you have this Rivette guy who played well the other day. But for now, RJ Hampton is looking like it's looking like the best play, at least on value as far as Orlando goes. I guess on Milwaukee. Is Giannis out? No,
he's supposed to play.
Yeah, I don't know why I don't have him for some reason, but I imagine that. I do have him. Yeah, so Giannis, he has the same risk as he always does in a situation like this, and whether he's going to be able to play enough minutes to get there. I have him projected for 32 minutes, and at 32 minutes, he doesn't even project to be the best, points guy on the slate. So given the fact that there might be downside from those minutes, I don't think I'm going to get to him today. That's pretty much what I got from this game. Am I missing a lot or
no?
Okay.
The Bucks, by the way, are one team that doesn't have to play a back-to-back tomorrow, so I would imagine they're probably going to be healthy. I'm always a sucker for Giannis, so I'm just going to take my 60 and roll with it. Usually, even if it's 3 quarters, I think it's still pretty likely he gets there. But I don't think there's anything else to talk about on Milwaukee. I really think that any other play is just it's fine. There's no reason to go out of your way to play to these guys at these prices. Grayson Allen would probably be, I guess, the next level of interest, but even DiVincenzo should be back tonight. Like, I don't know. They'll probably slowly work him in, but still, just like not for me. I will play some RJ Hampton for sure, and I'm definitely open to the Gravette thing, but I don't know if we're going to end up needing to go there. What I like about both those guys though is that they should play in a blowout. Like it shouldn't really cost them their minutes. There's no reason they should have Tim Frazier playing blowout run, and old Tim Frazier. Why wouldn't you just let Hampton get as many minutes as he could? The only issue with this guy so far has been, the biggest issue is that he just doesn't get minutes. So I think this is a good spot that he would get minutes. This is a long shot play, and he's questionable even on top of it. So don't like take this one too seriously. I'll just point out that there's been a few of these where they've been in blowout games where they just got stomped, where Mo Wagner has put up big games. I don't think this is going to be a slate where I'm going to do it. I'm just throwing it out there. But I think this is pretty much Hampton, maybe a little Gravette or whatever, how you pronounce his name. And that's pretty much it for me. But Hampton definitely the most interesting play in that game for me. And then we get to buy an extra half hour too if you don't play the guys from that game, because you know how it goes. We saw how many times like Marcus Morris being announced in. I was like, wow, can I find a way to figure out how to get Morris in? I just couldn't do it too late, and he ended up having a big game. So every minute you buy in these days in the NBA matters.
Yeah, what's interesting though is that they're 2 games later. Okay.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about let's get into the Washington, Minnesota, Miami game. What do you want to do here?
Yeah, so what I want to do is I don't want to play anybody from Washington. And what I want to do is probably play the Omar. He rates to be the best play as far as I'm concerned from this game between him and Butler. But Omar certainly rates to be a good center value, but fortunately or unfortunately, you're going to have Nathan Knight again with the same price tag. So you can look at it one of 2 ways. You can look at this as being kind of a very risky pivot off of Knight, or just a terrible play because Knight's just that much of a better play. Or you know what I mean? So that's where I am with the Omar. I do think he's a good play. Maybe not on this slate. And don't forget that you also have like Jokic at center and Embiid at center. So Omar is going to be tough, but certainly rates is a good point per dollar play. And Butler is the other guy from Miami I would play. And that's pretty much it.
Any thoughts on nothing about Kispert or Avdia?
Yeah, that was the one guy that showed up on the Washington side for me. I just figured, since I couldn't pronounce his name, that he was just some guy I wasn't supposed to play. But that is the guy that showed up as the best value for me on the Washington side. That would be Corey Kispert, but not by a lot.
First round pick this year, FYI.
Oh, he's actually good.
Just outside the lottery.
Okay.
I think he was 16th overall, maybe somewhere around there.
So we need Beal not to play though, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, even with Beal in, I currently am looking at a projection of 35 minutes for Kispert. So I don't know if that's how real that is, but
yeah, I got 33.
Yeah. Everybody else at these prices, no, thank you. And by the way, come on, FanDuel. Like, you know what? We already have to play all these giant. DraftKings is making all these massive tournaments, and FanDuel, you have to pay like $5,000 if you want to play a tournament that's got a chance at a big payout. It just seems kind of nuts.
Oh, it's the same thing tonight? They did the same thing?
Yeah, it's just crappy little tournaments for the most part. I didn't look at the mid range, but the 333 is like a 10K for first, small one, and yeah, I think even the middle one is. I don't even know what the middle one is. I think it's 5K for first for the slam. Like, come on, guys. And it's a big slate. So, all right. So I'm okay with the Yurt 7 idea. I think that it's borderline, to be honest with you. I do think this guy can produce per minute, and I like the matchup, but are we maybe making a mistake just not playing Gafford on the other side? Like, isn't that a better?
You keep on talking about that every time these guys are playing, to whether you want to play that you should probably play one or the other, Gafford or Harrell. So it's not.
I have Harrell as out tonight.
Oh, okay. So
and I don't understand why Gafford isn't projecting better based on that.
I guess the position again, but not even that. Yeah, you're right. I don't even have him as
like his minutes, or they have the same minutes for him that they've got projected basically that he plays all the time.
I have him playing 23 minutes.
Yeah, so maybe, you know what, I'm going to put a little.
Well, because I have Harrell in, so.
Yeah, interesting. I've got him at 26 minutes and I have Harrell out.
Okay.
But that's one we'll obviously touch up. I will be around for sure at 6 p.m.
Oh, because you want to know what? He was just placed on the protocol today. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. It must have just happened. Probably.
Literally 10 minutes ago.
Okay, well there you go. That makes a lot of sense. So Gafford should start projecting really well, and I think he's the priority between he and Yurt 7. But I do think they're both viable. And then I have mild interest in Avdia and Kispert. They can shoot themselves into a game. But overall, this is not a very exciting spot. I think Jimmy Butler's fine. I just don't think I'm going to end up doing that. It is kind of tempting to play either Butler or Hero here without Lowry. They're fine. Just I think we have better plays later on.
In your single entry that you won, did you play Smith and Knight in the same lineup, I presume?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Philadelphia, Toronto. What you got? A lot of stuff on Toronto.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, you never get the Jokic slate without Embiid playing. That's just the way that's the way they do it. They never give one team a day off when the other team is playing. So my comment remains the same each time these guys are playing together. I mean, the same slate is that Embiid is going to rate to be slightly worse play than Jokic, and he's going to be significantly lower owned and always a very viable pivot. So I do like that on the Philadelphia side, and I will continue to like that. As far as other guys, I mean, want to be Blanton. I don't know. I don't think I'm doing any of that today. There's certainly nothing showing up right now is anything I want to play on either of these teams except for Philly, except for Embiid.
Yeah, I like Embiid. I think Watanabe is like, if you're playing cash games, like that's you start with Watanabe. Like I don't think it's even a question for me. It's going to be 1 million minutes. He's a good point per minute guy. He has been this year. He put up 47 in his last game, and he rebounds. He does the things that you don't necessarily need to rely just on shooting for. Also, you've got Kem Birch questionable, Siakam questionable, and Gary Trent questionable. And if they're all out, you're going to want a ton of things from this game, possibly. They raised the price on, good job on raising the price on Svi, because he's going to play a ton of minutes as well. They don't like to give Chris Boucher minutes, but this could be a spot where they may not have a choice, especially if Birch is out and or Siakam. So there's probably going to be more to do with this game later in the day. Right now, I have Watanabe as a priority play, but that may change later in the day when we find out who's available. If Gary Trent plays and the other guys don't, I think Gary Trent is extremely viable. So just going to depend on how it shakes out with the injuries.
Yeah, what do I have Watanabe projected for 34 minutes. I have Trent for 35. I have Pascal for 35. And then Svi with 32. And everybody else like in the 20s, pretty much.
I mean, they really might be down on bodies if Birch, Siakam, or Trent or any.
Yeah, I have an 8-minute projection for world famous DJ Wilson.
Yeah.
Hey, we laughed. You know who smashed with no salary last night was Greg Monroe.
Yeah, but the thing is, you couldn't use him and be profitable.
That's what I just said.
No, right.
Oh, well, that too. Okay.
No, but even if you could use him, you couldn't be profitable with him because everybody else was better. You know what I mean?
Had Nathan Knight at only 300 more, right?
Right, exactly. So Nathan Knight, and he was on the same team. So unless you played them both together, which would be just a really weird construct, like
yes.
And even still, I don't even know if that would have been optimal, to be honest with you. All right, let's talk about the Lakers and Houston. Start us off here because I've got some thoughts, but I feel a little weird about this one because I really don't know who's going to play for Houston. I'm going to guess they're going to put their guys.
Okay, so I'm an idiot. And you know what? I'm going to tell you why I'm an idiot. But one thing I did wrong, it's one thing that we do something wrong and you didn't notice it. Oh, I screwed up. There was one thing I did yesterday and I knew it was bad. And I did it anyway. I even said to myself, like tomorrow when I talk about this, Bobby, I'm going to have to apologize for this. And I just got lazy. I just stopped building lineups. I was doing it not to make this an excuse, but I was doing so much projection updating in the freaking live stream and doing my lineups or whatever. And then I finally settled on this one build. I'm like, I really want to have like 40% of this guy. I know he's going to get 10 fantasy points, but I did it anyway. And so I owe push-ups for Josh Christopher. That was really, really bad of me. And it's not just the results, because I knew it the second that I did it. In any case, I don't want to play him there either. The other guy I played who was fine, but if he ends up being too chalky, is David Nwaba. I mean, he was great. He was going to put up like 35 or 40 if the game stayed close. Yeah, I know. He was good enough. And he's projecting again at 7x today. So he's going to be, still going to rate to be a good value play. Other guys on Houston, I'm really not getting to. So for me, it's Nwaba and probably going to be it. I probably should throw Christopher in just for spite. But keep in mind that Jalen Green and Kevin Porter are probably going to play tonight. Oh, really? Oh, I don't even have them in. And I'm going to guess that actually, that's not true. I do have Porter in, actually. I would bet you would, Gordon, at least one of those guys sits, maybe some other guys. That would be my prediction here, because it's the back-to-back, that's just sort of what they do. And then if Wood sits, then Sengun becomes a play. Like okay. LeBron is obviously, with the Lakers struggling right now, LeBron is obviously a strong play. I don't think Stanley Johnson's going to project well. Be very, very careful. These minutes are completely in flux. This guy's on a 10-day contract and hasn't played in the league in years. I don't have him projecting all that great. I haven't projected at 26 minutes and 20 fantasy points, and I think that's even possible. I haven't. I pretty much the same. I have 24 minutes and 18 fantasy points. Yeah, I think it's possible, but we're basing it all on him coming off the bench at a game against Brooklyn where they were getting rolled, and then they ended up going on a run while he was in there. Now, will that carry over if he ends up for some reason starting, which I can't really see happening? Then maybe you can get some interest there. But as it stands, it's mostly just LeBron for me on the Lakers. I do think Westbrook's an interesting long shot tournament play. He's sort of he had a horrible, horrible night the other night, and he still had ended up with a triple double, and I believe he had 50 plus fantasy points. It's a really good matchup, or 49 fantasy points. He shot 4 of 20. But Jesus. I like LeBron basically, and then we're going to have to wait and see on Houston. But my initial thoughts are Jalen Green and Nwaba if he's starting. Other than that, I made some of the Christopher mistake too myself. I think I had 18% of them, which is way, way, way more than I should have. He was 37% owned. People, I don't understand why everybody played him and then they were so much lower on I really didn't understand, or even Armani Brooks wasn't good either, but I just don't understand what was going through exactly people's heads and how they were building. And I actually thought Christopher was going to be a mid-teens type of ownership, and I was okay with that. But if I would have had any idea he would have been 37% owned or whatever, I would have had absolutely zero interest. And we just have to see who's in and out tonight for Houston. I really don't think we can speculate, because I would bet you it's likely that some of these guys sit. I like LeBron on numbers and stuff. I worry that this is that's why I was hoping to get your take first, which I did. I was worried this is just a game that's just not like a LeBron game. But every game's a LeBron game. They don't have any. Yeah, sorry, go ahead. I was going to say, I guess at this point they have to win every game, and he's been carrying the team. So like you're saying, every game is a LeBron game. Yeah. I like Westbrook too. So yeah, I agree with that. Then the other guys, you could always try to maybe Malik Monk if you want, or Carmelo. It's strange I wouldn't play both of them. You know what I mean? Because they're both very similar for me. You know what I mean? Like one of them if they get hot shooting, they'll keep shooting. Actually, Carmelo will keep shooting regardless of whether he gets hot shooting. Right. He'll shoot. His prerequisite, if he touches the ball, he'll shoot. But yeah, I'm with you on that. You want to move on to Knicks, Minnesota? Yep. So far, not all that thrilling so far. What do you have with your Knicks, and then talk about Minnesota too? Yeah. So if you're feeling a little cheeky, and you really want to lose, you could first of all, Nathan Knight's in this game again, right? And he's going to project to be the best player on the slate. And quite honestly, when I watch that game, and I just have literally no reason to doubt that. He's jumping all over the place. He's diving all over the place. He's getting rebounds. He's doing literally everything. Until Towns comes back, I mean, this is his time. So I think he's gonna, even though it's on a back-to-back, it's kind of a tough fade. But like I said, if you really, really want to lose, this is like all of Thibodeau revenge, by the way, right? Going back to Minnesota. I happen to have just noticed, you can't really play this, but I just noticed that Nerlens Noel is out. This is also Taj Gibson going back to Minnesota. And I don't know, man. Maybe he gets sentimental. Maybe Taj Gibson plays a whole bunch of minutes here and stuff like that. He's probably got about literally a 2% chance to outscore like other people in his position. But I just happen to have noticed that Nerlens Noel is out just as I was going through this. So if you want to lose, or if you're really, really dead early, which you won't be because it's only an 8 o'clock game, I'll just throw that in there. It's really not a good play, but I figured I'd just announce it. As far as Kemba Walker goes, it's kind of hard to dispute what he's doing. You know, I was a little off put, by the way. I don't know if you were watching the game. I was a little off put with the lengths they went to get him that freaking that triple double. I'm just not that guy. You know what I mean? I'm not the guy that appreciates that. Nonetheless, he's taking advantage of this opportunity. He's playing really well, and the fact is, he's playing better than a $6,900 player. So he's not going to project all that great because, you know, again, they're only using a couple of samples and they're going back into past data, I guess. But I don't know. I just have this feeling I'm just supposed to play him again. So that's my take on the Knicks. I would play Kemba, and then I would play. I'm probably not going to play Taj Gibson. I forgot to mention it. Now on the Minnesota side, I mean, these guys are all just still tremendous values. I mean, Nathan Knight at the top, and there's McLaughlin, Beasley, who just barely got there, by the way.
He didn't really, yeah. But he missed every shot.
Yeah, Noel, McDaniels again. They all remain.
Yeah, I think Beasley's one of the best plays on the slate. Without like, I mean, he's not going to, you know, shoot like that very often. I mean, sure he will actually sometimes. But if he shoots well, he's going to put up 50 fantasy points or 45 or something like that. It's just the way that it is. So I love Beasley and Knight. You know, it's really hard to find an argument for not playing Knight, I think. They did go, you know, with some other lineups down the stretch at certain points, but
he actually got a 5th foul. They actually took him out to actually protect him.
I couldn't tell if it was protected because it's 5 minutes left to go in the game. It was kind of a weird time to take him out.
No, there's literally no reason for him to have been not on the floor. You know what I mean? Like, there's the best player on the court.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I mean, he was last night, yeah, for sure. Well, other than of course Jalen Noel, who was my other sneaky guy who I had in that lineup. Yeah. And we have to see if Beverly's in. If Beverly's out, I like shaking shots on guys like Noel because. But the thing is, it's a similar to Beasley thing. Like he's going to take shots, but he's not going to get nearly as many shots as Beasley, obviously.
No.
But he also doesn't do as much, and it's probably a little thin, and people are going to probably react to him having a big night if Beverly is out. If Beverly is in and Okogie's in, I think we can kind of stay a little bit away from some of this other stuff.
Well, that'd be nice. That'd be nice, actually.
I think Jaden McDaniels is interesting as just a sort of a mid-tier play. But I think priority-wise, I would go Knight, Beasley, and then probably Kemba. But I actually am a little nervous about this for Kemba if Quickly does come back tonight. I know that they're talking about how they're going to give him all the minutes and all this. It's just that his I mean, like, it's not like this is working for the Knicks. It's not like all the stuff he's doing is benefiting them. You know, they've won one game, I think, out of these monster games that Kemba's had. And his usage being through the roof is just probably not going to happen, I don't think. I mean, he didn't actually, the last game, he didn't even play well where he got the triple-double, but he got the triple-double because that's what happens against Atlanta. Atlanta's the worst defensive team around. I don't know what I want to do with the Knicks side. I really think it would probably just be Kemba or nothing. And I think for Minnesota, it's the guys I mentioned. It's Knight, Beasley, McDaniel, maybe a long shot play in Noel. That's pretty much what I got.
Cleveland, New Orleans, I have as a pass. The only guy that I have showing up at all on Cleveland is Dean Wade, who I don't want to play.
Well, Mobley, they just announced while we were on air that Mobley is active.
Even better.
So now you can really, really stay away from it.
And on the New Orleans side, the only guy who's showing up as a value is the guy you still need to get your money back from, and that would be Garrett Temple at 3,600. As long as you don't have him taking the ball out of bounds on the sideline, we're all too happy with him being in the game. and I don't think I'm gonna actually do it, but he's the best guy I have from that team.
I feel like we're supposed to do something here. Like,
Okay.
I don't know what it is, but you have no Ingram. Temple should play a lot of minutes. Herbert Jones should play a lot of minutes. And, people keep making fun of and saying, oh, never Herbert. There was a guy, I don't even want to say who, on a different show I was listening to the other day, saying how if you play Herbert Jones, it was against Milwaukee, it was last week. If you play Herbert Jones, you're out, you're asking to lose money. And it wasn't like a slate where there was like overwhelming value. There was great value as there is every day these days. But Herbert Jones has put up a couple 35 pluses, and hey, that works out at 4K, and he's going to play a ton of minutes. I think I'm probably going to stay away from it. I'm just throwing it out there. It's being misread, I think, by most people. With Mobley back, I think I kind of want to play Mobley.
Okay.
Just double checking. I don't even have his price. I don't have him projected right now. Let me just double check his price before I make a statement that I don't know if I'm going to be able to stick with. But it's a really good matchup in general because of the pace New Orleans plays with. But I don't know. It's you do have Joe Val inside. He is too expensive now at 8,100. Yeah, probably too thin. He would be the only. I think I'm probably just staying away here. But I do want to give a little shout out to how good Kevin Love has been. Like, it's pretty incredible. This guy in like 20 minutes puts up like double doubles. What did he have last time he played? He had 22 and 9 in 18 minutes. Like, it's just incredible. Right. And he's just doing it every game. The game before that, he had a double double in 22 minutes, 18 and 12. Like, he's just a really good basketball player who doesn't get enough time because the team is loaded. I hear they're talking about trading for Simmons, and I think that would be a mistake in my opinion. I think you have too much good stuff going on. You need a superstar, sure, with these guys, but I don't think Ben Simmons is the answer. I think one of Devontae Graham and Temple are the best plays on New Orleans, with Herbert Jones being the next guy, but I don't think you need to do any of it, to be honest with you.
Denver, Golden State, the only thing that I like in this game, well, okay, shouldn't say that. I like Jokic. I think he's a really, really good play for the reason that he's always projects to score the most fantasy points, and he does so in usually a consistent manner. So I like that. On the other side, Curry, I mean, he's always going to project to be a worse play than some of the others, like Giannis, like LeBron, because it's a different role if you want to. But I don't know if he's low owned, maybe I'll take a shot. And that's pretty much all I have is the two main guys in this game.
Yeah, he tends to when they're threatened, you tend to get a little bit better out of them, unless or you get more shots out of him like you did against Phoenix the other day. But even that game he didn't get there, but it's because he didn't hit his shots. Like, if he did, they would have won going away, and they did win, but they would have won easily. I don't know what to do with Golden State. I think I just leave them alone. I think that's just the simplest answer. You're going to have Wiggins probably back too, but I do think Curry is always a good long shot play. The Jokic thing, this is interesting because I think you could make an argument that Embiid is a better play than Jokic, and I haven't really felt like that all year long, even just in raw points. And it's just, first of all, it's very tough. Like, Golden State, the way they pack the paint, everybody's like, oh, we always, they don't have any big guys. It's a mismatch. Oh, this and that. And I'm like, but they never, they're like the best defensive team in interior in the NBA. Like, they just have good team defense. They're going to focus on trying to, double Jokic and recover. They have the athletes to do it. It's close between those two. Don't get me wrong. It does sound kind of crazy when I say it out loud, but I think this is really close between Jokic and Embiid tonight. So that's and you can't really play both of them. It's not really viable to go the double center route with these other values we have at center, because one of those guys is going to 10x or come near it, or do like a Nathan Knight from last night, or it very likely will be Nathan Knight again. And I don't think I'm interested in anything else from this side. Unless Aaron Gordon's out, I would take a shot with Will Barton. Overall, my thoughts on this game, though, are that I think Golden State wins this one pretty easily, unless we get an outrageous shooting performance from somebody on.
What's the spread of this? 8?
7. I actually think you could make a good argument. This should have been like a 10 or 12 point favorite. Like, I don't think this game is very close.
One other thing you can do, by the way, is if you play Nathan Knight in the center position, for example, you play Jokic. Obviously, you play him in the utility anyway, but you play him in the utility. And then if things aren't going well, you could swap from Jokic to Curry or something like that. So that's something you could do, and that would be actually an argument for using Jokic instead of Embiid, just because provides you a little more flexibility because it's a later game. But you know, the ownership's going to reflect that as well.
Yep, absolutely. All right, let's close out with the hammer here. OKC and Sacramento. What do you got?
Yeah, it's a very uninspiring hammer, I think.
By the way, Naz Reid just cleared protocol, so we should touch on this really quickly, because that is going to probably kill some of the Nathan Knight stuff and make it's going to be interesting to see what they do with Reid, because Nathan Knight played really well, obviously, but Naz Reid is a guy we generally want. So just keep that in mind.
Not to mention the fact that, again, that it is on a back-to-back from Minnesota.
Yeah.
So if he's cleared protocol and is ready to play, I mean, he's probably going to start, no?
Possibly. I mean, Anthony Edwards cleared protocol, but they're saying he won't be playing today.
Okay.
Just keeping that stuff in mind. Go ahead.
Yeah, so the guy that's showing up for me at Oklahoma City, I mean, you mentioned something about Giddey or something like that. He's going to be back.
He's out.
Oh, he's out, because the guy who's showing up for me is the other Wiggins, the Aaron Wiggins. I mean, again, I have no idea who it is, but he's the guy that's showing up for me. And honestly, everybody else, not really. I'm really not getting anything from this game. I mean, you'd think I'd get something, but I get nothing.
Yeah, I feel like there's a way to stack this game. I think Maladon's interesting. I don't know what they're going to do with their rotation.
Oh, I forgot about it. He's back.
Yeah, he's 3,300 also. Wiggins, was 8 for 10 from the floor the other night when he put up 32 fantasy points. Maladon only played 20 minutes and put up 22 fantasy points. They're both Maladon or Wiggins is okay by me. It's a good matchup, so I want to do something. Maybe I'm not overthinking it, but maybe Lou Dort is just a good play tonight. It's interesting to me that he's completely unknown, or going to be very unknown, and I think his projection is a little bit off. So I think he could play easily more than 31 minutes. When they try, they actually try, like to win games. They don't, and then it's hard to know which game is going to be that game that they do it. And Dort hasn't done anything in a while, but without Giddey in there, you're going to get some more usage. So I actually think Dort could be a good sneaky play. It also allows you to do a lot of things because you have that late game, the guy in the late game that you want, I think, and I'm trying to figure out what we could do on the Sacramento side, and outside of De'Aaron Fox, and even that, like, I don't love. It's kind of hard to figure it out. Buddy Hield could shoot his way into a big game. Yeah, I'm not especially interested in it either, but I'm probably going to build one stack of these later, with the Jokic, and then with, some of the thinner value from these guys, to try and get like 4 or 5 guys in this later games, so I can have some switchability, because it's just happened every day to us that literally every single day that something has happened, and a late game guy has gone like 8 to 10x, because, last night it was Morris, for example. Anyway, I just think it's just something I might just do from a strategy standpoint, but it's hard to figure out those guys. I think the guys you'd want to use are Fox. God, they really got healthy in a hurry. Sacramento, they've got, all of a sudden they went from having nobody to everybody back. Fox, Shea is probably, Shea may not be as thin as he seems at 9,500. He could put up a big game in this kind of environment. So maybe Shea would be another one you could play. Yeah, I want to try and get these guys, but I just can't make a great case for all of them outside of maybe Shea, Maladon, Dort. There is a chance Kenrich Williams plays a bunch of minutes tonight too. I don't really know what to do with that. I don't know if that means, that could mean 15 fantasy points, and that could mean 30. Yeah, it just feels a little thin with how good some of the other value is in the slate. All right.
Just to point out this Aaron Wiggins, this last game. I mean, you want to talk about everything going his way. I mean, I'm looking at this line score. He was 2 for 4 from 3, and 6 for 6 from everywhere else.
Mhm.
So this is just not a line score that's going to be reproduced. So I'm not too worried about missing out on that one.
Yeah, I gotcha. Well, I'll go through my highlighted plays now. Noel, I'm sorry. Oops, I should have this Knight or Reed. I do think Knight or Reed is going to be interesting. I don't know which one yet, and it's probably a little bit of a knockdown to Jaden McDaniels, who I actually liked as a mid-range guy. But that situation is going to be interesting to see what happens with the Reed Knight thing. Hampton, Gafford, Watanabe, Beasley, Temple are all going to be in a decent portion of my lineups. The other guys are Yurt 7, Giannis, Embiid, Nwaba, depending on what happens with that situation, Jalen Green, LeBron, Kemba Walker, Lou Dort, and De'Aaron Fox are the other ones I have. But honestly, I feel like we're gonna know a lot more in 6 hours than we will now.
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, that's the first look, and I know it's hard these days to do the first looks because you really don't know what's coming. But hopefully that at least gets you pointed in the right direction. We can start building an initial lineup. And Sheets, anything else before we get out of here?
Nope.
All right. Good luck to everybody tonight, and we'll see you at 6 Eastern. 6 Eastern. All right.
Yep,
good luck.
see you then.